everybody, Wilter here, and this is Wilter's World. And today, ask the question, should you carry? Is it time for you to start carrying a concealed weapon? And the answer is, I don't know, maybe. The answer is maybe. I don't know you. Maybe you're a lunatic. Maybe you're a normal person. What I want to talk about is why I carry. And this can kind of go along with the philosophy of maybe why you should carry too, maybe you shouldn't carry too. All right, one of the big things, I remember Columbine back in, it was in April 20th, 1999, and I was a junior in high school. And the thing, I remember it so vividly, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but I was the same age as these kids who were committing these mass murders. And the school, Columbine, looked a lot like the school I went to and was at the time. These students looked a lot like the students, the ones who were being shot, where it looked a lot like the students I went to school with. I remember them talking about the people who were cowering underneath, and I'm not blaming them, but it's what they had to do because they had no other option. They were underneath the table, basically praying and hoping they weren't going to get shot. That's all they had. That's how they could protect themselves. They had no real way of doing it. So yeah, there was 12 students murdered, one teacher, a bunch of other people were injured and shot by these lunatics. And that sealed in my mind this thought of, gosh, what would I do if I were in that situation? And it's kind of scary because what would you do? You could run away. I mean, fighting isn't really much of an option at that point. But back then, in 99, I was 17 years old. After that, you don't even have an option to carry at that point. I don't think you can even in this state of Minnesota till you're 21. But I remember it putting this thought in my mind of what, how you feel secure, and are you secure when you're just running away, or you can fight somebody. What? Yeah, I'm a big guy. What are you going to fight somebody who's got a gun 20 feet away from you, shoots you? The other one that sticks in my mind is the Virginia Tech shooting, and that happened in 2007. And this guy was completely insane and takes out 32 people were killed and many more injured. And all I could think of, I remember at that moment, all I could think of is, what if one of those students, or even more, had a weapon to protect themselves when this mass murderer decided to come in and start shooting the place up? At least they'd stand a chance. At least they could fire back at somebody. But it wasn't in 2007 or even 2008 when I finally decided to get my permit to carry. It was much later. I remember thinking about it and wanting to buy a gun and getting this and planning for it and thinking about doing it, but never actually doing it. Never actually taking the steps that it takes to get it done. And I know there's a whole bunch of mass shootings in between these times, but I'm only going to talk about these three that I want to talk about because those stick out for some reason in my mind, where I kept thinking, I got to go get this permit to carry. We remember Aurora, Colorado, in the movie theater. This happened in July 20th, 2012. This guy comes into the movie theater, just starts blasting away at people. 12 people killed. One of them was even a kid. I was reading, 6-year-old child shot there in the movie theater. Absolute person was completely out of their mind. 70 people were injured or more. And nobody in there had their permit to carry, apparently. Not that I read about, to maybe try to stop this. Now, you people who are against law-abiding citizens having their permit to carry, there's lots of good people out there. There's always going to be a lot more good people than there are bad people. So at that point, if you had a dozen or so, it was I think over 200, 300 people in this big movie theater. If you had a dozen of them that had their permit and had their weapon on them at that time, I guarantee lives would have been saved, or at least not as many people would have been injured. Somebody would have taken this guy out. He didn't stop. He didn't even bother to get shot. He went out and just kind of hung out for a while. Nobody was there to stop him. Nobody. So if you think that just waiting there for the police is going to be the answer, well, police are great. They're going to be great in the situation. They're going to come help save you. But there's going to be some lag time. And personally, I don't like the thought of cowering underneath a table. Let's say somebody comes into the restaurant where I'm eating. Me and Wildflower are sitting there eating our dinner or lunch, and some crazy person decides to come in and just start shooting up the place. What am I going to do? I always think, what am I going to do? Am I just going to sit there and be killed? Am I going to hide under the table while I try to protect my daughter, which I can't do? Or am I going to pull out a weapon and start shooting back at this person? If you had more people who have their permit to carry, you stand a better chance at surviving a mass shooting than if you didn't have people with their concealed carry permit, or on them, I should say. It's hard to dispute that. It happens. News stories don't like to report it all that often, but if you look in the internet, you can find all kinds of stories where you see a person who had concealed carry permit stopped a mass shooting, stopped another shooting all the time. You can look at it almost every single day. This happens, but it doesn't get reported because people don't want to believe that citizens with weapons on them is the way to protect us as a whole. And let me tell you another thing. It also can prevent more things. I have statistics, which I will put up. I've got 2 different charts. I'll put up both of them. If you want to, I can't talk through them because my editing is crappy, but I'll put them up and you can feel free to pause it, take a look at it, and then continue. And I'll talk about what those charts are. The more gun ownership you have in the United States, the higher the percentage of gun ownership, the lower the crime rate. It's a fact. It's just, whether you want to believe it or not, that's the truth. That's how it is. And it can prevent crime. You think about if I'm carrying walking down the road and somebody sees me and they're thinking, this guy might have a weapon. I don't think I'm going to try to rob him. That could prevent it right then and there. It stopped before it even started. If the laws, like say in New York or other states, are very constrictive on how much or how many people or how easily you can get your permit to carry, person's going to think, I don't care, they're not going to be able to defend themselves anyway, so I'm going to rob them and try to, maybe kill them or whatever. Criminals might be stupid, but they don't want to die. They don't want to get killed while trying to rob somebody for their money. And if they're thinking for just a sec going, well, find a better victim. They want to find the weakest victim they can find. And that's somebody, they want to, these people are terrible people. They want to rob little old ladies who probably don't have a gun on them. They look at some little young girl. That's who they're gonna go after. Somebody who looks like a victim. Don't be a victim. And I always feel like I have to have the obligation to fight back. If you don't want to do that, then you probably shouldn't be carrying a weapon. All right, so I'm going to go through, I got off on a tangent, so little ADD, so, that's how my mind flows. But I'm going to try to get back on point about the reason I keep looking down here. I have my list of things I wanted to talk about because I get off track all the time. I go off on a tangent. But some of the reasons maybe you shouldn't carry, because not everybody should carry a weapon on them all the time. And here's some things where you might not want to. Actually, if you decide to start carrying, it is a big deal. It's a big decision. There's a lot of responsibility that comes along with carrying a weapon on you. You need to have the training. You need to continue to train with that weapon. Make sure you're proficient at it, and you're going to be able to hit your target if something were to happen. That's a major one. Also, another reason you shouldn't carry, should carry, if you're a person who has a quick temper and you can't control yourself, or you're a hothead and you want to be some kind of vigilante where you're going to go walk through the rough part of town, so if somebody tries to mess with you, you can shoot them. No, not the right mindset. You have to have the right mindset when you're carrying a weapon. You're not being a tough guy. It's not about trying to be a tough guy. It's about preventing yourself from being a victim, protecting yourself and your loved ones, people who are with you, other people here in society. You are also obligated to protect them if something were to happen. The main reason to be having a permit to carry and carrying a weapon on you is to prevent an active shooter situation or to stop an active shooter situation. If you don't have a weapon and somebody comes to your door and wants to bust through the door, and you see all these home invasions going on all the time, they happen. If you think that, oh, that's super rare, it's not that rare. I've heard about it just in the town just straight down the road where I live. And I guarantee if you start paying attention to the news, it's happening close to where you live too. Home invasions are happening all the time. That's why you need to get yourself armed, especially in your house. And if not in your house, also in public where you're going. Let me tell you something else. If you think, oh, well, I don't need to carry, you never know when these things are going to come up. You think, oh, I've gone here a million times, never had any problems. Well, guess what? I've been driving my car ever since I got my driver's license. I've put on a lot of miles. And not even a single time have I needed to have my seatbelt on. Because I've never gotten in an accident where my seatbelt has protected me. But guess what? I still wear it every single day, just in case I get into an accident, whether it's my fault or someone else's. I wear that to protect myself every single day. Maybe I might go my entire life and never need the protection of my seatbelt while I'm driving, but I still put it on every day. It's the same thing when you have a gun on you. You might not ever need it. Hopefully you never do. But the point is if something were to happen, you have it on you. It's like wearing a seatbelt when you're driving your car. In my other video, I've talked about carrying a .380. This is a Smith & Wesson .380 with the laser. A lot of people think, oh, you have to carry a bigger gun. You have to have a .45 or a bigger caliber. Well, not really. Okay, for one thing, I've done lots of research on ballistics. I'm not going to talk about every single thing here. If you want to go check it out on YouTube and watch the ballistic things, you can go do that when you're choosing a weapon. The .380 with the hollow point, you're going to get the job done if you need to take care of it. Second of all, it's not a bad idea if you want to carry an extra magazine, because these little guys, let's say, one of the main reasons why I carry a smaller gun with a nice enough caliber to do the job. This guy here is small enough where it's very comfortable for me to wear every day. I can wear it. It's comfortable. If I have a bigger gun, and I'm a bigger guy, so if I'm sitting in a chair and I can't have it hitting on the side, so I can't wear it on my side, my hip. I have to wear it back behind. So if I had a great big gun, I doubt I'd take it everywhere because it would just be too uncomfortable, especially think about it in the summertime. In the summertime, it's hard to conceal carry a full-size gun. If you're wearing shorts and a tank top, I can wear shorts and a tank top and still have this thing covered up. It's very easy, it's small, it's super lightweight. So that's why I carry a smaller gun. Now this isn't my only gun I have, but I'm not going to talk about every single one I have. But that's the one, my main carry gun, because it's very easy. I wear it even in the house all the time. It's super simple, very comfortable, no problem. I want to talk about what they call a gun-free zone, which is just, it's a joke. It's ridiculous. I mean, these people think that you put up a sign. I don't know, if you feel all warm and fuzzy inside thinking, oh my gosh, I put up the gun-free, now people aren't going to carry in there. No, you're a moron. It's really that simple. You can put up a gun-free. You think anybody cares that wants to commit a crime to have that there's a sign there? Do you think anybody cares? It's ridiculous. Also, all they're trying to do is keep the law-abiding citizens, the people who should be carrying a weapon. You're going to want that person there. All right. So where was I? Okay, about these gun-free zones. Why do you think it's a good idea to try to prevent people, good law-abiding citizens who would stop a mass murder, to not allow them to carry while they're at your business or anywhere? Why? I can't understand. You think they might get upset with each other and start shooting at each other? That almost absolutely never happens. It's so rare, you almost never ever hear about it. You have literally millions of people carrying every day, and you don't have these kinds of problems. It's almost unheard of. So to recap some of the things, you have to have the right mindset. It's an extremely big responsibility to have to be carrying a weapon with you. If you are a hothead and you have a temper and you don't feel like you can control yourself, if you're depressed, maybe not a good idea to have it with you all the time. If you're not willing to do the training it takes to be proficient with that weapon, if you need to pull it out and use it. But if you are going to carry your weapon, it is important that you have those qualities you have. All right, guys. Well, I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments down below. Hopefully we do. It'll be good discussion. And thanks for watching. Don't forget, I'm not going to have this channel into a big gun channel all the time. I also have a whole bunch of other videos out there for hiking videos. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new updated videos. And always going to keep putting new stuff out there. All right, thanks, guys. Wilter, out.